Alright, everybody, we have the biggest weekend of Rocket League ever, basically, for the regular season coming up this weekend. Due to week 1 being cancelled earlier in the season, they have Makeup Day on Monday, so both Europe and NA will be playing 2 days this week, which is awesome. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. There's a lot to cover today if I'm going to get through my predictions and my power rankings. So, first up, I'm going to go to Europe just because that's how I ended up organizing it. The the first game, TSM vs Singularity. A lot of people are going to say this is a snooze fest, which, in all honesty, it probably will be one of the lower quality games, but I still think it's an extremely important game to watch because both these teams are really, really struggling at the moment, and they're kind of like barely squeaking by, fighting for that 10th, 9th, 8th spot. And honestly, like Monaco, TSM, and Singularity, I don't see any of them climbing out of the bottom 3 throughout the rest of the season, and so it's really important to see who comes out with it. I think Singularity have looked very, very weak the past few weeks. There were moments earlier in the season, especially against like Vitality and stuff, it's like, hey, look what these guys can do. But I think TSM should be able to come out with it. They've at least looked slightly more competent overall. Then Veloce, they have a chance to get 2 wins this week. The first one should be a bit easier against Monaco. I think Veloce will feast on these guys. I don't think Monaco have been able to do anything that should threaten Veloce. Next up, Reciprocity Endpoint. Reciprocity, a bit of an upset last week. They lost to, who was it? Barcelona, that's right. So Barcelona obviously looking like one of the best teams in the world. But Reciprocity's inconsistencies are still showing up. Reciprocity lost the week before to Veloce. And so Reciprocity gonna have a big, big weekend this week with 3 games in the span of 3 days. They need to start off strong against Endpoint, and I think they will. Endpoint, I think they look better than Singularity, but they just haven't shown the quality to be an elite team in the Rlcs quite yet. TSM vs Mouse. Mouse is starting to put it together a little bit. They beat Singularity 2 weeks ago and then took Dignitas to game 5. And even if it was close against Dignitas, they got reverse swept. And you need the wins at this point in the season. Looking good isn't going to help much, but they have looked good, and they should be able to take down TSM. Again, another team with 2 games because of the 2 days, so big week for everybody. Barcelona Dignitas, one of the biggest games of the week. These 2 games in Europe are huge. Barcelona Dignitas and then Vitality Reciprocity. That's extremely, extremely cool Rocket League. Barcelona Dignitas. I think Dignitas should be able to take it, but man, if there was ever a team to beat Dignitas this year, I think it could be Barcelona. But I'm sticking with my gut. I'm going with Dignitas. Coming off the reverse sweep, they're going to be immensely happy, and the momentum is going in their favor. And Dignitas is going to be like their first test of the season. Dignitas have played TSM, Monaco, Singularity, and Mouse. So Mouse is really the only big team they've played, and so we'll see how this goes, but Dignitas I think should be able to take down Barcelona. And then Vitality Reciprocity. Earlier in the season this would have been a huge matchup, and it still is. It's still extremely important, but I don't think it'll be as close as I thought it would have been if you asked me 3 weeks ago. Vitality I think will take this. Reciprocity have been way too inconsistent this year, and like even people have been talking about Chaussette not being great, but even when he is, they're still so inconsistent sometimes. Like, they can't keep that level of play up all the time. They're just too inconsistent. I think Vitality should be able to take it, especially coming off of a win against Barcelona 2 weeks ago. And then Barcelona Singularity starting on Monday's games. Barcelona should be able to take this one. Obviously, we'll see how they do in that Dignitas game, but either way, no matter how that result goes, they should be able to take on Singularity. TSM Endpoint, another big game for the bottom of the standings. If TSM can start turning around by beating Endpoint, that'll give them a good chance of finishing in that 8th to 9th spot. But I do think Endpoint will take it. They've looked alright at times. Again, I think they're not elite, but they look good. Veloce Mouse, I hope Veloce take this, and I think they will. Mouse really need to step it up. They have the potential, but like Veloce are just so good at the moment, so I think Veloce will be able to take it. Reciprocity Monaco. Reciprocity should be able to take this one again, even if they drop a game or 2 on Saturday or Sunday's games. I expect them to lose Vitality, and so going up with a nice win against Monaco would at least help restore some of that. Because at the moment, Reciprocity are only 2-2. They're in 5th place. So if they end up going 3-3 after this week, that'll be looking really rough for a top 2 spot. But Vitality Dignitas, another game, huge game to finish off the European League. There are 3 massive games in Europe this week. Vitality Dignitas, again, I think Dignitas should be able to take it, but I think we really have to start to worry for them if they also drop it against Barcelona. Because like I said, this is their first real test of the season. But at the worst, Dignitas will come out of this week at 4-2, so they'll still be top 4. Um, but I think they'll pick up at least one of these series, and ideally I think they'll pick up both. So then moving into NA, we got E United with a huge week here, 3 games. E United hasn't looked super convincing. I think everyone can agree with that. They're 2-2 at the moment. They're only 1 game up on game differential, but they have a chance here to come out with a big week. E United against Fight. E United should be able to beat them, but then I think they will struggle later. But they should be able to take down Flight. Flight have looked really, really weak. I think Flight, if there's ever a week to turn it around, or one series to help turn their season around, they need to take down E United to show they can beat those mid-table teams. But if they drop it against E United, I don't think they're ever going to get close to out of top 3, much, or probably not even 10th spot. Ghost Gaming versus Rogue. Ghost Gaming have looked really good this season. I think they're playing extremely good Rocket League, but they just keep losing those close series, and it's crazy. But they lost, or last week they beat Flight, but then they lost to Susquehanna Sonics in Game 5. I'm not too worried about that though. Susquehanna Sonics won all 3 of their games 2-1, and then 2 of them were in overtime. And so it's just like you're a bit unclinical with your shots. Ghost Gaming probably should have had the series if you ask me, but I think Ghost Gaming will come out with the win here against Rogue. Pittsburgh Knights, Susquehanna Sonics. Pittsburgh Knights starting to look a bit better. They beat Ghost 2 weeks ago, but then they dropped to Space Station. Another team that's so in the middle. I feel like they're so close to being good, but they just can't put it together. They're 2-2 at the moment. They'll be looking for a big win here against Susquehanna. I think they'll take it. And then United G2, G2 probably will smack them. G2 have only lost 3 games this season. Not even series, just games. They're 4-0 with 12 wins, 3 losses on individual maps. So they're looking really solid. They should be able to take United. Space Station Cloud9. Cloud9, really struggling. Again, I don't think they'll get a win this week. And they'll be looking at 1-5 after this week, which is terrible. But Space Station should be able to come out with this. I think Space Station is one of the top 2 best teams in NA. It's so hard. I'll talk about that more at my power rankings. And then Energy Pittsburgh Knights, one of the best games in the week for NA. Energy probably should be able to take this one, but if Pittsburgh Knights really are turning their season around and they can upset Energy and get the win against Susquehanna, they'll be looking really, really good heading into Monday. But I think Energy will take it, of course. Energy are also looking extremely good. Space Station Flight on Monday's games. I'm going to love that, man. I don't have any of my classes on Monday, so I get to binge watch so much Rlcs this weekend. I think Space Station should be able to take that one for the first game of the day for NA. E United versus Susquehanna Sonics. Now we're getting interesting, because if Susquehanna Sonics, they won last week against Ghost, obviously, which means they have a chance to beat Pittsburgh Knights. And then coming into Monday, they could also beat E United if they do that. So really, really big week for them. And I really like these guys. I don't know if you heard before, but I live near the Susquehanna. It's a big place, so you don't know specifically where. But I've been there, I've seen it, it's local to me, so I'm really rooting for these guys. It feels like a homegrown team, I think it's really cool that some of these teams like Pittsburgh Knights, Susquehanna Sonics, and Charlotte Phoenix, all this stuff, they're doing the locations, because it feels like you can attach yourself to it more. So I really like Susquehanna, even though I don't think they're going to get the win against Pittsburgh. They can come away with against E United, but I'm going to go with my gut and say E United can take it. Ghost Gaming G2, big game. Again, Ghost Gaming, really solid play this season. Haven't quite been able to put it together to get consistent results. But if G2 were to get upset, this could be it. G2 haven't really had to play many challenges. They've only played Pittsburgh Knights, really, that have been a challenge. So this week could be the week that G2 looks mortal, but I don't think it'll happen. G2 are going to take it. Pittsburgh Knights Rogue. Pittsburgh Knights should be able to take this one as well. Rogue is another team that just looks so flat this year. First Killer has potential, but he's not quite consistent enough. Konovi is always Konovi, he's still good. But then Wonder has been having an awful season. I think if they can make one more change, probably to Wonder next year, they'll be looking like a real threat. And with First Killer developing a bit more, he's still so young, you can't give him too much slack for that, And then Energy Cloud9 used to be huge match. Won't be this week. Energy going to take it, probably in a sweep. So yeah, let's get into my power rankings. NA is so boring for my power rankings. I literally didn't change anybody. And the only surprise here is probably Ghost Gaming still being above Susquehanna, even though they lost. I think Ghost Gaming should have won that series, and they're overall playing more consistent, better Rocket League. Which is crazy to say, because Susquehanna are 3-1. and Ghost's 2 and 3, but I really do think that Ghost is the better team. Other than that, everybody's the same. There weren't really many upsets this week, and the one other thing I want to point out is that number 1 through 3 could all be interchangeable. Like any day of the week, if those guys are playing each other, they could beat each other. I honestly think Space Station could come out on top of this season, but we'll see how it goes. All 3 of those teams are great, and I think they all have a really, really good chance at winning Worlds this year. Moving to EU. Again, kind of boring, except for the bottom part of the table, you have some movement. But the top 4, I think Dignitas is looking like the best team in the league, but we'll see how that turns out this week. Vitality, Barcelona, and Dignitas are all looking so lethal at the moment. And kind of like NA, the top 3 are like just a league above, I think. And Veloce, they're in like the B tier. Like they're above everybody else, but not quite the same level as the top 3. But Veloce looking super solid. I'm excited to watch them as they go on through this season. Because everybody's, thinks they're boring and stuff, but they're looking really, really good. And it's interesting to see how they go, because they're 4-1. And Vitality's 4-1 as well. Dignitas is 4-0. So like they're all right there. Reciprocity Mouse, and they're kind of in their own tier too. They're not as good as the top 4, but they should easily be able to beat any of the teams below them. And they're even next to each other in the standings at 5 and 6 respectively. Oh wow, I just realized I think my EU standings my EU power rankings are almost the exact same as the EU standings. But endpoint again, 1 and 3, but they have shown flashes of decency. And I think that's big because even if they can't beat the top teams, they show they have the potential to easily beat out those teams below them. TSM coming up with a win recently, and that's good for them. Now they don't have that reputation of being the worst in EU. Singularity and Monaco look to be fighting for that at the moment. Because Singularity, man, after that win against Vitality, they've done nothing. They only scored 1 goal this week. So, desperate times for them and Monaco. They're both moving down in my power rankings to 9th and 10th respectively. So everybody, I can't wait. This is going to be a huge, huge weekend of Rocket League. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.